All right. Happy Thursday, everyone. I can't believe that we're already halfway through September. Where does this month go? Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Thank you guys for joining us tonight on our Beyond Fitness call. Before we get into introducing Laurie, I just want to encourage you guys to really push hard. I know we're halfway through the month already. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe it. But we're entering the hardest part of our business, the end of the year. So if you're new to this business, I just want you all to know that it's not you or anything you're doing, but the end of the year is always the hardest part for us because we're getting into the holidays, we're getting into the part of the year that everyone is lazy and they don't want to do anything about themselves until the beginning of the year. But I don't want you guys to give up. I want you to just try harder. I want you to just be more creative with your posts. Dig deeper with talking about what you do as a coach and why you're doing it and about your team. Keep sharing all that, and it was going to pay off. You're planting those seeds for the January season, or hopefully earlier. But now's the time to be digging into your personal development, your mindset. You got to really stay strong and increase your messaging. Message more people. Keep reaching out to more people because this is the time that people are going to give up. And I don't want to lose you guys. You guys are all on this call for a reason. You all want to grow your business. You all are trying to build your business. So just dig into your PD and keep doing what you're doing, but turn it up a notch. So if you think you're working hard now, work harder because I want you to know it's going to pay off. What else was I going to say? I guess that's about it. But like I said, we're entering the end of the year and we have Quarter Force coming out in November. And I think that's going to be a really big push for us. I think it's going to hit all different markets. So, we have Amy Capola on our team, Diesel Nation, who is doing that right now. So check in with her page and start sharing that program because you've got to plant the seeds now. You can't just in November 1st be like, oh, guess we have a new program. So start now talking about it so people can get excited about it and start collecting emails so that when come November, everybody's ready to go and they want to place their orders. So get excited for that. I've been watching her videos and it looks really awesome. So I don't want to take any more of your time. I want to go ahead and welcome Laurie Wright to the call. Laurie and I, we never actually met face-to-face. I think we probably saw each other at Summit, but we have been doing mastermind calls together for the last couple quarters with corporate. Which once you hit diamond and above, you get to do. And it's awesome because you get to meet people all over the business. And it's a really great way to pick each other's brain and learn different things about what works for people and what doesn't. And it's really amazing. So Laurie is 57. She lives in Charlottesville, Virginia. She is married and has 2 grown girls. I don't know if both of them or just one of them is a Beachbody coach, but one of them is. Okay. She has 2 grandkids and 1 on the way. And she's been coaching since January 2014. She's a 3-star diamond. She is a SC5 legend and an SC10 all-star, which is awesome. Her team has about 50 active coaches at the moment. And she is the founder of Not Your Average Army. And hopefully you've had a chance to check out her like page, which is Not Your Average Grandma. Do not like her like page, side note, but check it out and see what she does. So I asked her to speak on this call because most of you have a like page now or are thinking about having a like page. And whether you're going to take the Instagram route or you're taking the like page route or you're doing both, whatever. I want to get in your heads that you need to start tapping into that cold market because you're going to dry up that warm market and then you're going to come to a big halt because that's what happened to me last year. I grew my whole business. We did this amazing thing. We just ran, we hit elite. My team's amazing. And then I came to January and I was like, where's everybody? I'm like, so now I'm like desperately trying to find my cold market. And I wish that someone would have said, start doing it now, because guess what? Now you're going to have to play catch up. So start it now, learn it. Do your research, do your trainings, take that extra time to grow it and learn it now. So when your warm market is done, you already have, a security blanket started there. So, Laurie is amazing with her like page. And I'm not going to call her an expert, but she has done a great job growing her business. I think last week when I announced the call, she was at like 9,000 followers and she just broke like 10,000 followers this week. Didn't you?
No, that's my goal for September. But
okay, well, you're getting close.
Yeah,
getting close though. But but it's happening fast. So I really wanted her to share with us what she did and how she's doing it. And this is not by any means a training. There's so many trainings out there, and there's lots of YouTube videos. You have to pay for them, but I just want her to just share what she knows and just whatever she can offer for tips for us that can help us. Because I think we're all at that point where we're like, what do we do? So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to have her speak with us. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Laurie.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here. I did a talk recently for another team call, and I did it was more about like how to be a successful senior coach. And so I'm using that, but I'll try to rush through it so we can, I can answer your questions about like pages. But I do want to touch on what Jenny said is it's never too soon to start your like page. So, and I'll get into why I started mine, but basically I had 0 friends on Facebook. So that was kind of like my only option. I had friends, but they were all my kids' friends. So, so I've learned a lot along the way, and I'm happy to share what I know. So, all right, so let me share my screen.
Do I need to make you the host? Oh no, you can do it.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
I can.
Why is my thing not coming up? Let's see my Evernote. Okay, here it is. All right, so let me move on. Okay, so you said a lot about, so basically I was in corporate world for over 20 years. I worked at AOL for 13 years. You guys might know of AOL. I left AOL in like 2005, I think. So I worked on a lot of places after AOL. But my specialty is software development. Like, so our website, our Beachbody website, I like chomp at the bit to like, if I could just like help them manage projects to get our website better, I would, that's my cup of tea. But anyways, I left that job over a year ago to be a full-time coach. So anyways, I'm kind of a Ruby Emerald. I like spreadsheets because I like to be organized. But I'm pretty competitive, and I hate not being on the leaderboard. So all the other things is Jenny's already talked about. So I actually started as a challenger like many people. My daughter, she basically signed up as a coach, and she had her first challenge group, and I wanted to support her as her mother. So I bought a challenge pack. I also wanted to lose weight. So I was, I tell people I wanted to lose 10 pounds for 10 years. So I was pretty much like always in a size 8, but I had recently, since I had turned 50, well, I was 54 at the time, pretty much the last couple of years prior to that, I had started to put on slowly weight. And so I had quite a muffin top. I didn't even realize until I took my pictures I had back rolls. So I was pretty horrified when I saw those pictures. So that, I didn't have a lot of weight to lose, but I did need to lose weight. So I started on November 4th, and I was very resistant to signing up for the discount. As you can see, I didn't sign up initially for the discount. I waited until the 2nd month because I told my daughter that it was sketchy. And I am somebody who thought network marketing companies, they always hook you in, and it's like, I hate the home party thing. And I just, thought it was kind of sleazy. And I was also upset because I didn't know I was on auto ship. And then I found out I was on auto ship. So, but anyways, she finally found me at a weak moment right after Christmas. I remember sitting on the couch. Of course, fast forward, she wishes she had waited a couple of days because I only was good for her elite points for like, really only 1 year. So anyways, I had less than 200 friends on Facebook, and they were all friends of my children. I didn't post regularly on social media at all. I basically was on there to see what they were doing. I've never been in sales. I'm, like I said, a project manager, more about lists, to-do lists, and, planning project software development launches. I never did selfies. So I never made a video. And in my first few months, it was like scratching, clawing to get to Success Club 5. So I can certainly relate to those of you who can't. But what I did have was a huge passion for the products. So, and I had a transformation. So I did T25 was my first program, and I did it, as you can, saw, I started in November and went through Christmas, and I lost 10 inches. I didn't have a huge weight loss. I lost 4 pounds, but I lost a pant size. And so it got in much better shape. I did work out, but it's kind of like one of those hobby workout people. I did it when, it was tired, I didn't do it. And so having, a transformation at that age and feeling the way I did, and Shakeology, I was always somebody who was really constipated. I couldn't poop. And so Shakeology changed my life, really. I had stomach aches a lot, and I was not going to stop drinking Shakeology. That was a part of my daily habit, and I wasn't going to change it. So I signed up for the discount. But very quickly thereafter, within a couple of weeks, I started realizing, I was seeing my daughter coach, and I started to realize that I could really help other women like me feel as good as I do. And at the age that I was at the time, that's pretty powerful, because a lot of people have given up and they think that there's no way they can ever, feel as good as they did back when they were, 10 or 20 years ago. So, and I also had this strong desire to be free from the cubicle life. So I, at the time, I have savings, but I didn't have something that I could live the way I wanted to live the rest of my life. And I didn't know when I would have that. I envisioned myself sitting in that cubicle at age 60, and that scared me. I don't want to be that old lady sitting there still working. And I guess maybe if I loved my job, because as a Beachbody coach, I see myself doing this till the day I die. But because I wasn't as passionate. I was good at what I did, and there's a difference between being good at what you do, but really having a passion for it. And so I saw this job as, more of something that aligned with my purpose of what I could really do with my personality and by helping other people. I always wanted to be, when I first started out after college, I wanted to be a social worker, and my parents talked me out of that. But my mom was a guidance counselor, and I always thought if I had to do it over again, I would want it to be like in a therapist or in counseling. And so I thought kind of this is a little bit like that. So I also did not hesitate. I was in a challenge group. My daughter ran. That was it. In January, as soon as I said I'm ready to be a working coach, I ran my own challenge group. Even though I didn't really have anybody to put in it, I started a free group. I did a clean eating group very early. And so I think that is important to have that kind of mindset, not be afraid and just do it. And then Success Club for me was a non-negotiable. And I would stay up until 11:59 working to get those points. And I actually, in April, I almost missed Success Club. And I remember messaging my daughter when I was probably about 2 hours before midnight. And I remember telling her, I said, I don't think I'm going to hit it. And I remember her response was, you will. I have confidence in you, or something like that. And I did. I needed 1 point, and I sold a Shakeology auto ship to somebody who I'd been talking to. And I basically said, hey, I will give you a $25 gift card. At the time, we had these gift cards on Beachbody, to get her to get the Shakeology, and she did. And she actually then said, I wish, because I told her I had a goal to hit, and she would help me hit my goal. So I would pull all stops to get to Success Club. So I also feel like Beachbody gave me a platform to do good work. I think that as a coach, you can make it whatever you want to make it. And because, you don't want to be a cookie cutter, you don't want to be like every other coach. That's why I really don't. People talk about you need to find 5 things, and the faith, family, fitness, blah, blah, blah. That everybody has that. And so the one thing I can encourage you to do is find the words that are unique and not something that other coaches use. So, and then I don't have that. I just, it's like, I'll never give this up. I'll never stop. I'm committed to this. So, and initially, of course, I reached out to my very small warm market. So I hit Emerald I came home, I think 2 weeks after I signed up as a coach was a Super Saturday. And I went to Super Saturday and they said, hey, if you want to hit Emerald, it's very easy. You just sign up your spouse and your best friend or your parent or something. So I came home from that and signed up my husband and my mom. So, and actually my mom's account is paying for her assisted living place. She gets money every month through her retirement, but she's not covering it all. And as a Beachbody coach, that income is covering the rest of that. And if it weren't for Beachbody, she'd be depleting her savings by that. And so, so I became Emerald very quickly. And I, like I said, ran a clean eating group, and I decided to create a like page. And I think the reason why, and I didn't know any better at the time, but I decided I wanted to be positive. I wanted to promote positivity in the world. And so I created a page just to post inspirational things, just a positivity page. And I can't even remember, I think maybe it was my name, I don't know. But I didn't have a name, I didn't know. And so after I created, I'm going into a little bit more detail here than I did in my last, because you guys are interested in like pages. But so I posted, I think once a day, an inspirational thing. And I really didn't have any strategy behind it. I just wanted to do it, and it felt good to me. And so, but I was like, juices kind of were stirring in my brain about like, I need to have a like page. I need to have fans because I don't have anybody on my regular page, and I need to grow my regular page friends, but that's going to take time because you can only like friend 5 to 7 people a day or whatever. So, so that's the way kind of I started my like page. But meanwhile, I had started my second program, and I was doing P90X3. It had just come out in January, and I kind of fell in love with Tony Horton. So, and very early in one of the workouts, he said that he was 55 years old, and I was getting ready to turn 55 when 3 weeks into that program is when I turned 55. And I don't know, whatever it was about him, he just made, and then a contest was announced. So I entered the contest, and it was to win a VIP workout with him at Summit. And so when I have a challenge and I have a goal like that, I like put my nose to the grindstone. And so while I was working on that program, I started hashtagging Not Your Average Grandma just as a joke. Because I was like, oh, I'm not your average grandma. I'm doing pull-ups. Oh my God. And so I started hashtagging Not Your Average Grandma. And one day the light bulb went off, and I was like, oh my gosh, that should be my like page. I'm going to change my name to that on my like page. So I did that, and very soon, so that I'm finished P90X3 in April. So all this kind of stuff lined up. So finished it in April. In May, Miguel Crusco did, I saw a webinar he did about getting at least 1,000 likes on your like page, and how you run ads, and a little bit of what he did or suggests to his coaches. So I did that. I ran 2 ads, got to 1,000 likes in like 10 days. And that was June. So, and since that day, or since June of 6 months into my business or 5 months into my business, I have not struggled to get to Success Club. I mean, I'm going to say it hasn't been easy. I've had to do the things that, you have to do with the vital behaviors and inviting, so many people, but I've been able to run ads. I've been able to get people to join my challenge groups. I've never really not had kind of a funnel for bringing people, cold market people on. So right after Summit was in June, at the end of June, and then into July, I hit Diamond. I signed, I think, 8 coaches. I also didn't sign coaches. So I think I had maybe 2 coaches going into, I didn't have very many coaches. And so that July was kind of a lot of people say there's the Summit effect right after Summit. Well, I think that was part of it, because, you're really excited and you're really reinvigorated. But I also know, because my like page started growing. And, I basically got those 1,000 likes in early June. And so that was a big part of it. So I think Pio came out then too. Pio was really big for me. So I had a lot of success, and a lot of people had transformations using Pio. So, and then the other thing, I've attended conferences. I've attended pretty much every Super Saturday, I think, but one where we had a wedding. And then I went to an Eric Worre event my first year. It was nothing that was promoted. It's something that because I liked, Eric, GoPro. I read that book early on and listened to his audio tapes. And so I found out about his conference and decided to go to his conference. And then I went to a conference he did with Les Brown about speaking and kind of motivational speaking. And then I went to Tony Robbins last year. I walked on coals. It was amazing. And then this year I'm going to go to Eric Worre's conference again and take some of my coaches. So attending these things and spending money, that's basically an investment in you and in your business. And so I highly recommend it. So I got this actual equation from Jessica Pasola. I don't know if you've heard of Jessica, but she is, I think, one of the fastest 215 superstar diamond coach, but she's in the Bombshell Dynasty. She says, how important connections are. And she's a very sweet person. She's clearly, a lot of the top coaches are great people at connecting through social media with people. And they don't just go do cold invites about challenge groups, which I did for forever. But I learned after a lot of trial and error, it's about building these relationships, and you need to start conversations that aren't about anything Beachbody. I don't know if any of you guys have people that are in network marketing businesses or ever gotten just a cold invite from somebody. It's really icky. And so, you want to go to their Facebook page. You want to keep track of who you have your eye on in terms of coaches. You want to be on your team. And then in terms of challengers, you want to like people, people that you think, or that maybe you've talked to before, and you just keep track of them and you just connect with them periodically. I started using Team Z, and it's been amazing. So I can't speak highly enough about that. It is a little bit of money, but it more than has paid for itself. It keeps me organized. It tells me who to talk to every day. It keeps those connections going that sometimes it's hard for me to that's one of my challenges is being intentional about going to people's Facebook pages and engaging with them. So basically her little algorithm is you make a comment on somebody's page, then you send them a message, and in the message you compliment them. So, and the reason why you comment on their page is so that they'll start seeing your stuff, because that's how Facebook works. If they know if you're talking to people or engaging with people, they show each other's stuff more. So if you post anything about your challenge group or your workout or your shake, they'll see that. So, so you want to pay them a compliment. Always pay a compliment. People love compliments. And then you ask a question. And so, that's the way that you have a conversation with people. And then you do that maybe a week in advance of when you want to go back, and then say, hey, by the way, I don't know if you're interested. I don't know if you know of anybody who's interested, but I have a group coming up. So I thought I'd see if you were interested. So, you have to post 3 times a day. I'm sure Jenny you probably drilled this into your head a zillion times, as I do my coaches. But if you're not posting, then you don't have a business, because basically social media is your business, unless you're doing home parties. If you're busy doing home parties and meeting up with people locally, then social media maybe isn't a big thing. But if you are on Instagram or on Facebook and you're not posting, then you might as well hang up your, you might as well quit, because unless it's just a hobby for you and you just like working out, you have to be present on social media. It doesn't mean you have to be posting about Beachbody, and you really don't want to post, all the time about Beachbody, because you want to have you know, you want to be a real person that has a life other than Beachbody. But think of ways to, you know, weave Beachbody into, Bonnie Engel does a really good job at this, but weaving Beachbody into your life. So, and how you, like I posted a workout today, and I was using Beachbody On Demand. So I hashtag Beachbody On Demand. I didn't really talk about, you can do it in a subtle way. So without, doing a public invite or being salesy, right? So if you haven't finished a program and gotten a transformation, then that's the first thing I would do. I mean, I would start next Monday and commit, because first of all, it gives you something to post about. And secondly, your passion level will go out through the roof, and that you need to be passionate about the products, because if you're not, people are going to tell you're not that passionate about the products, and people are attracted to passion. So I would say, it doesn't have, I just recently, I've been avoiding 21 Day Fix Extreme. So because I thought, oh, it's too hard, I did P90X3, but I don't know why I thought 21 Day Fix was too extreme, but I guess because 21 Day Fix by itself is kind of hard. So I just did that recently, and I finished it and I loved it. It's like one of my favorite programs now. And so, but just always committing to a program and getting a t-shirt, is really important. Running a free group, I'm a huge advocate of free groups, because if I hadn't run free groups in the beginning, my business would have, I wouldn't be a Success Club legend. I probably would have given up. So having free groups helps you help people when you don't have paying customers. And so the thing that I encourage all of my coaches to have a free group every month. I always ask them, when's your free group scheduled? Because the free group is a feeder for me, for my challenge group. And also, especially with the cold market, if you have a like page and you're meeting cold market people, they're not, very rarely, even if they show interest and they answer an ad, very rarely. I mean, I can have 25 applications filled out for my challenge group, and I'm lucky if I get 2 challenge packs sold out of those 25 people, even though they went to the trouble of filling out an application, even though they say they're interested, because they don't know you and they don't trust you yet. And so a free group is a great way to give some value to somebody, and then they trust you, and then they want to keep working with you. So I used to do clean eating groups every month. I kind of have alternated. I actually created a 21 Days to a Happier You group that I was really loved, but I only did that. It was a long group, and I only did it a couple times. I found out I was attracting depressed people, and I didn't want to do that. And so like last Christmas, I did a Grandma Guns group, because nobody wants to eat clean over the holidays. And I just recently came up with a new concept for a free group where I'm basically sharing positivity, tips and tricks of mine that I've learned a lot through personal development and Tony Robbins and books that I've read. And I just basically talk about that for 5 days. And so that's been super popular. I'm just doing my 3rd starting next week. The other thing is, I always like to emphasize that if you are losing friends, this is a big part of the struggle of what we do, is that not everybody's going to like what we do. And a lot of times it's people that are close to us that have the opinions. But, you'll find that even if they're family, my sister defriended me on Facebook, and I'm not even obnoxious on Facebook. She defriended me. But that shows you, kind of how close we are. But I was okay. I mean, when I realized what had happened, I was upset, of course. I was like, oh my gosh, why did she do that? But then I sat with it for a while. I was like, well, we don't really communicate, we don't, I can't even tell you the last time I talked to her. And so it's kind of sad. But so if you are going to lose friends, it's okay, because they weren't really good friends to begin with. They were obviously sitting in judgment of you, and nobody wants judgmental friends. The other thing is, one thing I learned early on is to have my challenge groups earlier in the month, because I hate stressing at the end of the month. I think I always had them at the end of the month. So I have them like this month. I have it on the 26th, but that's because I did the yoga bet, I'm doing a yoga retreat, but I did the health bet. And so the health bet started on the 5th. And so normally I was going to have a challenge group on the 12th. But so this month's kind of all screwed up. But anyways, but I'm as of today, I think I'm at 10 or 12. So I invite every day. Even though my group is the 26th, I still am sending out from people who said last month they wanted to join and they didn't. I'm following up with them and saying, hey, I'm the 26th is my next one. Are you ready now? And some of them say yes. And so, but my advice to you, if you don't want to stress at the end of the month, schedule your challenge groups earlier in the month and invite every single day. Do not wait until the week before your challenge group to invite. So also, this goes back the next bullet point to Team Z. You have to be organized with your prospect list. So I don't know how you do it. I know my daughter, Nikki, used, and I think she finally went to Streak, but for like 2 years, she used paper and pencil. And so that works for some people, but you have to have a system, even if you have paper and pencil. I couldn't ever do paper and pencil, but I'm a spreadsheet girl. I created a Google sheet and I can sort it, and I could put in the last time I talked to them and the next time I need to talk to them. So that's the free, easy way, is to do it like a Google sheet. And Streak is also free. So you can use Streak, but I thought Streak was a lot of cumbersome, and I do most of my stuff in messaging and not email. So Team Z has been amazing for me, and I just love it. So if you're not familiar with Team Z, then I would search YouTube for some videos, and there's a ton of training videos out there about it, so you'll know what it is. And somebody on our mastermind call said that the other day that every person on her team who's using Team Z is hitting Success Club. So if you're not hitting Success Club, it might be a good investment for you. This is something I thought of when Jenny was talking. So she was talking about planning for quarter fours. One of the best things I did for myself was to plan in advance. And I think having a team made me do that. But even if you don't have a team, it really is good to sit down with a calendar and plan out your next month. So it's September 15th. You should have a plan for October by now. You should know when your groups are running, when your free group is going to be. I do a coaching sneak peek. This week is my coaching sneak peek. And then the following, then your challenge group. So whenever that is. And I always plan my holidays. I did this last year and it really worked. So I plan my November and December way in advance, because I want to know when the holidays are and when I can fit in, because people really don't want to work out over Christmas. So I did a 21-day fix group last year that started on the 1st of December and was done by Christmas. And so I did, I started a free, I called Zap the Holiday Bloat. I did a 3-day refresh group. And it was really amazing. I created this. It was a free group, basically. It technically wasn't free, but it was a group where you didn't have to buy a challenge pack. So I said, I'm doing this cleanse. Does anybody want to do it with me? I do it like before Thanksgiving, after Thanksgiving. And so I just kept the group open. It's actually still open. And every time I do the 3-day refresh, it kind of comes alive. But I said to everybody, I said, would you like the kit that has 30 days of Shakeology or 3 days of Shakeology? And you wouldn't believe how many people say 30 days, and I get a challenge pack sold. And so I would say do some of those 3-day refresh groups. You might want to open one in early November and just keep it open. And then of course, selfies are a big deal. Selfies, when you do selfies, people know you, people connect with you. So I try to do at least a selfie a day, and people really feel like it's like, you watch the Kardashians, right? You feel like you know them because you see them all the time, right? Same concept. It's like, and I say this, the third bullet, you're a reality show in a way. You're your own reality show, and your fans are going to get to know you, and that's what you want. So always start 5 new conversations. If you really want to push it, 3 at a minimum, and you invite, every day, either to a free group, challenge group, or to a coach opportunity, or like mention coaching, or say to somebody, have you ever thought about doing what I do? You'd be so great at it. So that's kind of like the compliment that you could pay somebody. There was 2 people, for example, in my last free group, my positivity group. There was 2 people that stood out to me. They were like, so like always supportive people, and they were like commenting on other people's posts. And so I reached out to them at the end of the free group, and I said, hey, I just want you to know, if you're, it wasn't even a challenge group. It wasn't a coaching group. It was just this free group about positivity. And I said, hey, you would be a great coach. So, and both of them are thinking, and one of them's in my coach sneak peek right now. So, and always give before you ask, right? So that's, a lot of coaches have freemiums. I don't know if you've heard of that concept. If you have a website, you can set up where you can create a PDF document of, like, I'm thinking of turning, I don't have a freemium right now, but it's on my list of things to do, where I'm going to do a PDF, and I'm going to like turn my 21 days to a happier you into a free thing. So you basically, when somebody goes to your website, you give them that for them giving you their email address. And that's how you create your email list. And then you start doing newsletters, and you feed emails into newsletters. But that's kind of like something that I don't, if you have been a coach for a while and you're making Success Club on a regular basis, you should probably start expanding out and doing newsletters. I use MailChimp, and it's super easy to do. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I tell people, I've learned everything. I knew nothing. I didn't know how to create a group on Facebook. I didn't know you could edit a post on Facebook. That's how much I didn't know. And then I figure out why you're different. So make sure you're unique. I think for me, I'm funny, and I talk about funny stuff. I did a video the other day about farting during my workout. But, I want to attract people that are funny and think that stuff is funny. So if I offend people, then that's a way of weeding out those people who probably would be insulted in my challenge group if I ever did anything. But that's my personality, and I don't want to hide who I am. The other thing is always offer Beachbody. I'm a big advocate of Beachbody On Demand. I've always have been. I sell a lot of Beachbody club membership challenge packs. And it's always something that should be if they say no, it should be your second offer. So basically, if you want something free, and then if you have a free group, that you have like a free accountability group. I have a free accountability group where all my challengers graduate to. And so that is a free group you can use if somebody says no, but then you're like keeping in touch with them, and then you post there your workouts and other stuff, and you stay in touch with them. But Beachbody On Demand is such a great value now. And if somebody can just do the free trial for 30 days, if they're resistant, if they have a price objection, they're a perfect candidate for that. And then offer the coach discount to every single challenger. One thing I did learn at Summit, though, is that if you offer the coach discount, then the people will be a discount coach. They'll think of themselves. So just make sure that when you tell them about the discount, you also talk to them about, there's a great opportunity to coach as well. I always put my discount coaches in my coach group, my team page. So some of them come around after watching, and I do coach only challenge groups. So that gets the discount coaches involved too. Okay. So listen to every wake up call. Oh, so these are some questions from the last group. So where do I find coaches and customers, challenge groups, sneak peeks, and friends from my past? That's kind of like common. How do I advertise Facebook? Somebody asked a question, how do I get older coaches who don't need money? And I said, you should never lead with money. Business is not about the money. So one of the things, I'll stop sharing. So today, coincidentally, and my coach sneak peek was day 4. And in day 4, I talk about the reasons I love being a coach. And my videos are kind of like 6 months old, so I'm redoing them all. And so today's video, the 5 things, none of them is money. None of this is money. And at the very end, I said, do you notice how none of these are income? None of them are money. So I think it's really important that you don't talk about money to people. Not that you hide it, you know, but that's not why most of us are here. And when I did the video, I said, one of the number one reason is relationships and the people I've met, and it was totally unexpected. The other thing is the quality of the company and the people in it, and the quality of the products. And I said, of course I knew the quality of the products, but I had no idea. I didn't do any research into the company. Being a corporate person, I always researched companies before I went and interviewed and accepted a job. And then I talked about the accountability. You know, I think that is so key. And then what else I taught? Oh, that I learn. And I think that's important for people my age, especially because a lot of people think, I don't know, I want my brain to be challenged. I want to keep those little cells from dying. So I need to keep them stimulated. So all of the things that I've learned, you know, it can seem like daunting, but yet at the same time, it's been so rewarding. And I was so totally awkward in the beginning. I remember doing my first video and I was like, oh, seeing myself, and then all of the ums and your nose, and it was just horrible. It was a train wreck, really. But live video on Facebook is one of the best things I think that ever happened, because it teaches people how to clean up their act, and they really get good. And doing my own videos for my coaching sneak peek really helped me too, because we are part of the Bombshell Dynasty, kind of unofficially, but I was using Lindsay Matway's coaching sneak peek. And do you think people who are in their 50s are going to relate to her? So I was struggling getting coaches to sign up. I mean, I think I did 4 sneak peeks in a row and didn't get one single coach. And then I was like, maybe I should do my own videos. But of course that was at a time when I wasn't that comfortable doing videos. So I just decided I'm setting a date and I'm going to have my own sneak peek and I'm going to do my own videos. So there's nothing like kind of setting a date and putting a date in, you know, on the calendar, and then you just basically have to do it. Okay, so there's probably lots of questions here.
Yes. Awesome information, Laurie. Thank you. I have so many notes. I hope everyone took notes. Post your questions in the feed here in case she didn't see them in the event page.
So I think what makes me unique is that, you know, I think I'm very, very real. I think I'm funny, and I think I'm you know, I look younger than I am, and I look, you know, my body looks a lot younger than I am. And so I think Not Your Average Grandma was a really great name for me and for my page, because I think it describes me really well. And I like to be so I started hashtagging happy dance, because I do, when I challengers get excited, and have a transformation, I get excited. If they have like one challenger, she quit diet sodas, and I was so excited that she did that. And so I did a happy dance. So I told her, actually, she like, it was really hard, and she like didn't have it for 3 days. And I was like, okay, if you go a whole week without doing your diet sodas, I'm going to do a happy dance. So, and now that's become a thing for me, is I like to do happy dances. So, you know, find your thing, you know, that makes you a little different. Everybody has a thing, I think. Just, and you know, a lot of times I didn't know what I wanted my team name to be. And of course my daughter and I are on the same team, right? And so I came up with her name. And so then I was like, well, maybe I should keep that name. But then, you know, all of us want to branch out on our own. And so one day I was laying in bed, and it came to me. But I mean, I was a coach for a year after when that happened. So I always tell people it's an evolution. And that's why I think you should really commit to a program and really push yourself. And if there's a contest, get in it and push yourself, because that's when you start having these ideas. And that's when who you are really starts coming out. That's how it happened for me. So let's see. Many people. Yeah, so people have Teensy, or is it Teensy? Um, how did you?
I think she was trying to say grow. We're trying to say grow lens.
Okay, so I should probably talk about some stuff specific to Like Page. So what have I learned from trial and error? Okay, one thing I learned from trial and error is that when people fill out an application for your challenge group, they 9 times out of 10 won't buy a challenge back. So don't. I had a coach that actually quit because she was so excited she got people to answer her application, and then they didn't sign up. She had like 5 people. So I've learned, so what I do with my Like Page is I connect with people on my Like Page, and my goal when I run a challenge group ad is to become friends with them on Facebook. So I connect with them, and the first message I send to them is, okay, I'll give you all the details. Let's connect through Facebook. So I send them a link and ask them to friend request me, or ask, somehow I get their Facebook name, or I usually ask them to friend request me, simply because then it doesn't use up my 5 or 6, so I can get more friends that day. And then once they're your friend on Facebook, then you can start liking their stuff, and then you can look at their page to see if they're a good fit for you. That's for a coach, because I pretty much take anybody in my challenge groups. And then you can put them in Team Z and follow up with them forevermore. And so that's one thing I learned is, and I like doing applications for challenge group. I do it to Google Forms. Because you get a lot of information from people. So I ask people, if they've ever done a Beachbody program. So I find out if they might have a coach that they're working with. I ask if they've ever been in a challenge group. I ask them what their challenge, what their eating habits are, and what their, goals are. So it's a real good way to get a bunch of information from somebody. And then you also know what their commitment level is too. I ask that in the application, what's your commitment level? And somebody who says 3 out of 5, I usually don't even, I save them for last, but I don't get back to them, and I don't worry about it. Cause you're applying to be in my challenge group, and you're telling me you're committed only halfway. So that's what I learned is, that's where the conversation starts, is through your ads. It's not where you're going to make money like that. And so I do a combination of things. I have a website, and the reason why I have a website is because I like to write. And so I learned this tip from Lindsay Matway, is that I do a lot of posts on Facebook where I write, heartfelt whatever about the business, and for example, and so I will cut and paste that and make that a blog post. So I used to really put a lot of pressure on myself to do these great blog posts, but in the end, I couldn't take my blog post and put it on Facebook. I could link to it and stuff, but I found that once I heard that from Lindsay, I was like, oh my gosh, I can go back and take posts that I did on Facebook and put them on my blog. And I that way I'm getting 2 posts up a week. I try to have 2 blog posts up a week, and I rotate between recipes and just stuff that is in my life, stuff I'm posting about. And so what else? So when I do a coaching sneak peek ad, it goes to a landing page on my website where I have a little blurb about kind of why I'm a coach and what I'm looking for in coaches. And that took me probably 4 months of ads and trying to get that right, trying over and over and spending lots of money. But the ad that I have I've been using for 2 years. And my most recent coaching sneak peek, if you guys know anything about ads, it has a 10 cents click per CPC. And that's amazing. It doesn't mean that everybody who went to my website came to my sneak peek, but I probably have about, I'm trying to think how many, maybe 25 to 30 people on my sneak peek. And those are quality leads, because they went to my website, they read through everything, and then they joined my group. And I've signed 2 coaches from the sneak peek, and it's not even over yet. So anyways, that is how I do my coaching sneak peek. My challenge groups, I have advertised a lot less this year for my challenge groups because I have so many people to follow up with now. I have such a huge, customer base and I have so many prospects. I can't even like follow up with all of them each day. So, but I do periodically, I'll run challenge group ads to get some kind of new fresh blood. And then I spend $50 every month, $40 to $50 on a free group ad. So, and I'm running one of those right now. So one of the things that I've learned is that, you really need to figure out who your audience is when you run ads. So you can exclude now. You used to not be able to do that, but you can exclude Beachbody coaches. So anybody who has like their job title is Beachbody coach or Diamond coach, you can exclude those people from your ads. So that way you're weeding out. Now it's not going to catch everybody because some people don't have that, but you're not wasting your money on Beachbody coaches seeing your ad. And I also exclude some demographics because I'm trying to find people like me. And then for my targets, I pick TV shows and artists that I like, so whatever you like, if you like, Kardashians, if you like, you're going to, because that's stuff you can post about on your like page, I love The Voice. And so when The Voice comes out, I post about stuff on The Voice. And so my fans are going to, if I target them in ads, and so what happens when you use ads and you target a certain demographic or people with certain interests, what happens is they see, oh, not your average grandma. And then they go to your like page to check you out. And then they a lot of people like your page. So a lot of my, Jenny was saying I have 9,500 likes. Those are, I never, except for my first 1,000 likes, I never spent money to generate likes. You can like spend money to get likes through advertising. All of mine is, and you build likes faster that way, but you spend more money. My likes have all come from ads for challenge group, ads for coaching sneak peek, and ads for free group to Facebook audiences that I've created based on my interests. And so what happens is all these fans that I've accumulated, almost 10,000 now, are very, very much like me. And I hope so, but really what I've been doing with my free groups, I did something different this month. I tried to just run my free group to my fans. So you have that choice in Facebook. You can run your ad to your fans only. You can run to your fans' friends, or you can do it to everybody but your fans. So if you do it everybody but your fans, then you're getting new people to like your page. So I usually concentrate on not my fans because I want more likes, right? I want more likes. But now I'm taking this Jesse Reagan training, and I've learned a lot in it, and I'm doing video ads for likes. And so I've got kind of a good ad going, and that's how I'm getting likes. I've gotten like 1,000 likes in the last couple weeks. So this free group, I said, okay, so I'm going to just target my fans. And oh my gosh, I can't even keep up. I have like over 60 people in my free group right now. And I'm not even like, my ad's supposed to be running through Sunday at midnight. So I might kill my ad just because I'd like to get, a little over 100 in my free group, because I require in my free group that people friend request me. And I don't require them to be because it's just a free group. It has nothing to do with Beachbody, but I require that they become my friends on Facebook, because that I find Facebook's really funky. Some people, depending on their privileges, just don't see your Facebook posts in a group. And so I just tell them, you're gonna see my Facebook, posts if guaranteed, like if we're friends. And so there's, oftentimes like half don't friend request me. So then I end up with like 55 or 60 in my group. So it'll be interesting to see that like I'm filling this free group with my fans, So we already have that relationship. So it would be interesting to see how many of those I convert to friends. I'm kind of interested to see that. So,
You said you're in the Jesse Reagan training now. Is this a different one you've done, or?
No, I've never done his training before.
Really? So what did you build? What training did you take to learn all about the ads and?
My own self-training.
Just self trial and error.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think I took a couple of free, like Sandy.
Well, how did you learn to split the ad and do all that? You just figured it out.
I just learned that in Jesse Reagan.
Just learned that.
What I've been doing is just running one ad. I haven't been doing any sort of like statistics on the success or not. I just wanted to get I knew the number. I wanted it to be lower than like 20 cents. So
you knew that number, so you kept playing with it. When you said you did 2 ads to get you to 1,000 likes, how did you know how to do? I mean, what?
Miguel did a webinar.
Miguel, who was that?
Miguel Carrasco. He's like the top coach in Canada. I have the webinar and give you the link, but it's old now, so like things are different now.
No, I'm like at 500 likes. I started my webpage in February. So I'm like, seriously, it's ridiculous. So that's incredible.
Well, it's the same concept as that Jesse's teaching, is that you just need to test different ads because you need to find a winning ad.
Right.
So that's what the problem
is. Did you ever boost posts before you figured out how to do ads, or
Yeah, I've boosted posts, but I would have find out when you boost a post, if you boost it from within your newsfeed on your like page, then you can't target. You can't really hone in on the targets, and so you don't want to do that because you're wasting your money essentially because you're not targeting the right people. So you want to go into Ad Manager, and then you pick, I forget what it's called, page engagement, I think is what it's called. So that's what I'm doing with my free group. It's a page engagement. It's basically a post, but it's what's called a dark post. So if you go into Power Editor and you can either take an existing post that you've posted and make an ad out of that, or you can create a new one. Right. If you create a new one, it's not showing up on your timeline of your like page. So, and then the reason you want to do that is because you don't want people to come to your like page and see all these friggin' like invites to groups, you know? You don't want that. You want your page to be more about like you and what you're doing and that sort of thing. Oh, one important thing is I post 3 times a day on my personal page, and I do the exact same posts on my like page at the exact same time. And so I do no extra work. I see these people, and I could be totally wrong, but like I think one coach I saw, she did a call. I think it was on I think it was the Northeast region did the call. She posts like 12 times a day. I think she uses like a scheduling tool of some sort that, I don't know if you've ever heard of Edgar, but you can feed stuff into Edgar. And also eClencher does this too, but you can you can take your posts and feed them into this thing, and then it'll cycle through, so like if you have fed like 3 months of posts, it'll cycle back and pull some of those old posts. So it's almost becomes self-running after a point, which is great, if that means great. But I like to be spontaneous, and I like my like page to be exactly about me and exactly what I'm doing that day. I posted a workout I did yesterday today, and I didn't even like doing that because I like doing what I did today. And so, but some people are, I would say, I probably spend more time because I'm thinking about what I want to post and working on that. Whereas if I scheduled in advance, that would be more concentrated time where I'm working on content. So I guess it depends on how busy you are, how much that matters to you. So.
Right. Well, I'm glad to hear you reuse them because a lot of people have that question. And also for Instagram. Instagram's a totally different platform, so you can absolutely reuse that stuff for Instagram too. So.
Yeah, I don't, and I've heard this, you shouldn't, I know Facebook wants you to, but I never advertise to Instagram with the ads. Instagram, the platform, the visual is all different. So what works as an ad on Facebook doesn't visually work on Instagram. So they're kind of separate things. So, all right, I guess
What else?
Oh, time hop. I find a lot of value in time hop. So like, I will oh, I did that a year ago and that was a really good post. And so like, I'll screenshot, share, I'll take a picture of it on my phone. I'll save it to post later. So yeah, she's asking about reusing content, but definitely time hop is a good way if you've been a coach for a while to remember good stuff that you did. Jesse's wife, who isn't a coach, but she's in the fitness industry, she basically keeps track of posts. She saves posts that she does. And I don't know if she uses Edgar. He didn't get into that, but because for reusing, I keep track of my ads, and I have a Word document that I save my ads to, and I try to keep track of how they did. And I'll go back and use old ads, but I haven't done that with content.
How many ads do you have running at once usually?
I usually only do one at a time.
One at a time?
Yeah. Oh, in the training though, he had us do 10 videos at once, but that was for split testing. So that was all part of one campaign, but I only do one campaign. And the way I have my group staggered, it works out fine. So, but I'm pretty much every week running an ad because I'm changing my groups. So, or at least two weeks out of the month, because I always do a coaching sneak peek ad. I always do a free group ad, and then challenge groups sometimes. Do you invite your current Facebook friends to your page? No, I don't, but I should. What I've started to do is I've started sharing stuff. Like when I do a live video, I think, should I put this on my page or should I put this on, it depends on what I'm going to do. So I try to do my live videos more on my page, but on occasion I'll do them on my regular personal page.
You do them more on your page. Well, you have more followers. I'm I get no engagement on my page, so I do them on my.
Well, I get more engagement on my personal page too, but I want more engagement on my page. So if you want more engagement, you got to start putting content there. So I'll share where the live video wasn't. I'll share that. And so people, when I'm starting to share my Not Your Average Grandma stuff, so people know that I have Not Your Average Grandma. But yeah, you should invite your Facebook friends. And there's no reason, and Bonnie has said this, because Bonnie pretty much does the same content both places too. But she said, the chances of somebody seeing the way Facebook works, both posts, is rare. And if they do, then they probably like you if they're both places, so it won't matter. So, and I find that I see people that are on my regular page liking stuff on my page, and they don't like it on my other page. So they probably.
I see that too. I was always curious about that.
Yeah. So, how much comes from residual customers and new customers? Oh, this is one thing I want to talk about. So I basically, for the first 18 months of having my page, nobody ever tried to nobody ever tried to communicate with me. And then about the 18-month mark, I started getting people messaging me saying, okay, can you tell me about a group, or can you do this or that? I would say maybe I get a couple people reach out to me a month, not enough to hit Success Club. I'm hoping that'll increase now with, my likes increasing and getting more engagement there. Because some of the people in Jesse Reagan's training, they say they don't even invite anymore. People come to them and they have no trouble getting Success Club. So, but residual customers, I have a lot of returning customers. And actually that's what Team Z is great at. Team Z is great at forcing you to reach out to old customers and old discount coaches that you haven't really talked to for a while. I had so many discount coaches buy Country Heat and so many old customers. And even though they bought a challenge pack, I still got points from them. So even though you're not supposed to. So I wouldn't have never reached out to them if it wasn't for Team Z. And it paid for itself, more than paid for itself because of that. So I get a lot of, and I like to keep in touch. I tell people, if you're in my challenge group, if you ever bought a challenge pack from me, you are grandfathered in. You can be in any of my challenge groups forevermore. And it's also a great way to keep your challenge groups, full, by having old customers come back. So, is that all?
Is that everyone? I think that's everything.
I'm struggling to decide what to post on my personal Facebook lecture and Instagram. Any advice on the balance? Yeah, so I do everything the same. So I don't use Instagram a lot. I'll post maybe one thing on Instagram that I've done on Facebook maybe every 3 days or something like that. So I just always try to do a workout because basically you want people to know that you're a coach and that you're working out. And you want them to know, especially if it's people like you, what you're doing and what you're working out, because they're going to like that, right? They're going to, so I'm doing yoga right now. I have a free group with the yoga, and so I'm doing some of the yoga stuff. I really love Beachbody On Demand. I'm hot, sorry. I'm getting hot flash. So anyways, so the thing I'm doing with Beachbody, I'm trying to do, like, I did my front porch recently. I did country heat in my boots because my carpet in my basement is like really rough. And so I was getting like rug burns on my feet because my tennis shoes were sticking to it. So I did a video with my boots on, which was, I actually wear my boots all the time when I do that downstairs. So just like your personality, what are you doing? Like my mom is in assisted living. A lot of people in my age bracket are dealing with elderly parents. So I post some of the stuff that goes on with her. So.
Okay. Well, I think that we're running a little late, so I'm going to probably need to wrap it up. But I think we've answered all the questions. Anyone else have any other questions before we wrap up? So much good information here, guys. I'm so glad we recorded it. Thank you so much, Laurie. I have a ton of notes. I know that everyone really got a lot out of that. And if you haven't opened your Light page, now you need to do it, and now you have the tools to get started. So I'm really happy to hear that you did what you've done without doing any training. So it is possible without putting the money in there. But it's trial and error, guys. So you just got to start now. Start figuring it out.
I would say invest in the training, because I was really hesitant about doing it because I thought I know everything right about it because I've been doing it. But
Right.
It's going to happen faster for you,
Right.
and be less frustrating.
Right. Can we take a quick picture before we get off, everyone? I know people are already hanging out. It's getting kind of late. Everyone smile. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Laura. I really appreciate it. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.